While the days are getting shorter, our to-do list definitely isn't. In this episode, we're tackling the van floor and the battery compartment. This includes the wooden framing, the insulation, and the plywood subfloor. So let's get started. Alright, so first problem of the day. I forgot the primary car key at home and I just have the backup one. And this one doesn't work with the remote. And I just figured out that without the remote on the key, there's no way to open the side door. So that's kind of an issue for the van build, because that means I will always have to have the key on me to get out and close the car, which is kind of a bummer. And I don't know how we're gonna open that up for now, because I live 2 hours away and there's no way I'm going back. Yeah, I think for the time being there's no option. I guess the lock kind of works just with a 12-volt signal. So maybe for a future project we can put in a little switch so I can open it up from the inside. But in the meantime, I'm gonna try to screw open the key fob and see if there's a battery to replace. Alright, so we really have a problem. That didn't work at all. So it's really beginning to look like I have a kind of major problem here. I looked at the fuses, they are all perfectly fine. And this over here is the button that I was speaking of, and it just doesn't do anything. And now, kind of the biggest problem is that the immobilizer or the anti-theft system is constantly on in the car, which means I can't even drive it because of the replacement key that doesn't properly work. And that's a problem because I finally found a place to get my sheet of plywood and I ordered it for pickup today. And yeah, there's no way I'm gonna get there in time, even if I went back home, got the keys and got here 4 hours later. So yeah, and the problem is also it's kind of hard to film without having the sliding door open. So I'll have to think about if it's worth it. And if not, I mean, this episode is going to be multiple days anyway, so we'll see. Also, I spent about 1.5 hours looking through the manual, online forums and whatever. And I couldn't find anyone who has the same problems. I'm sure some of you watching know way more about cars than I do, so let me know what you think might be the problem. What confuses me a bit is the central locking seems to work with the primary key, but the replacement key doesn't work at all, and this button on the side doesn't work. What's also weird is the LED works, so if everything's closed up, it's red, which means it does get a signal from the doors. So yeah, it's super weird. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions. Alrighty, so just finished up a quick coffee break. I'm just gonna go out there and start with the framing for the subfloor because there's no point in skipping another day of the build. That may mean that we don't get the best camera angles all the time, but I hope you understand. Alright, let's get back to it. Nice. So we've got the table saw set up. I think it actually looks quite good for the price. It was around 250 bucks, so yeah, can't complain. And now we gotta figure out what we actually cut and to what dimensions. So let's go over to the van. The main goal of today is to put in the wooden floor that would hold the sheet of plywood. The main issue with the sleds is that the floor isn't even. As you can see, there's those high spots and the low spots. So I gotta figure out first where exactly to put the wood framing and also the thickness. Probably the easiest to start with would be the battery compartment, so let's do that. I'm such an idiot. I just locked my key in the house and there's no way to get in anymore, and I will have 1% battery left. And all the replacement batteries are in the house. Unbelievable.
2 hours later.
Alright, back in business. I got the keys from my neighbor. In the meantime, I wanted to just glue in the 4 little pieces, but then I realized I don't have the silicone gun out here. So yeah, I put together the ceiling supports that we can use to clamp those 4 little wooden pieces to the floor, and we're gonna use the Sikaflex to do that. I wanted to get much further before lunch so it could dry up, but I guess that has to wait. Alright, let's play a guessing game. Where am I? Obviously, I'm at Obi. So it is 2:45 in the afternoon. Let's make that the fastest Obi run ever. Alrighty, so overall 29 minutes, that was the fastest Obi run probably ever, and still it's kind of long to get 4 pieces of wood and some bolts. What's also crazy is the price of wood, isn't it? Like 4 of these 2-meter pieces were 30 bucks together. Isn't that crazy? Alright, so here's why I went to the hardware store. I was originally planning to use this 20 by 45 millimeter board, and I thought about cutting it in half, but then the surface area is just too small, so I opted for these bigger ones. I will still cut them in half, and they have the little beveled edges which fit perfectly. Not sure if you can see that well, but into this little ridge. So yeah, I'll rip those in half, and then there are some bits that I need to carve out, and then I can glue them in. Alright, so to be honest, I'm not too sure about the glue up. The floor isn't actually that flat, and I think with 4 of those ceiling support thingies, it might not be enough to get a piece of wood super flat on there. So I guess we'll just see how good the glue holds. But I mean, it's kind of hard to test because hopefully it will hold my strength. Otherwise we have an issue. I think I'm gonna leave the clamps on overnight, just gonna glue one piece at a time. Let's time travel and skip a couple of days. I'm back and with car keys today. So yeah, it is quite a lot colder. And actually it has not even been a day. I was here yesterday, but I just couldn't wait gluing more pieces in. So yeah, I'm back. We're gonna pull into the garage and put on the heater. Otherwise it's gonna be too hard to apply the Sikaflex. Now we can use the sliding door again. So this piece is not going anywhere. I can't wiggle it around, I can't do anything, so I'm pretty confident in the Sikaflex. I'm gonna throw on the heater for a bit, close up everything, close the garage, and then once everything is nice and dry, I will glue in the other pieces. In the meantime, let's set up the workstation for the day. So the car has been heating up for about an hour now, so everything's nice and warm. It's 2 p.m, finally lunchtime. And of course, gotta have my plumber. Alright, so I got a wooden frames cut and grooved, so they should fit over the uneven van floor. Hopefully I can get 2 glue ups in today. The issue I'm having is I could not find a reliable number on how long I have to kind of let it dry or at least clamp it down. Now usually you don't have to clamp down Sikaflex, it's just so the lumber kind of takes on the shape of the van because it is a little bit bowed. Alright, another glue up. So the main pieces for the floor framing are now prepared or already glued in. Now we're gonna start with, I think, the trickiest part, which is the battery compartment. And we're also gonna paint it because it's gonna be exposed, at least the edges, whilst the framing that I already glued in will be covered in insulation and the subfloor, so there's no chance of water getting in there. It's already 5:15 and I hope to get it done today and the first coat of paint on so I can glue it in tomorrow. But as you know, if I think I can do something in 2 hours, it's probably gonna take 6. So let's see if I can get it done today. So I just read up on the paint, it actually only takes 2 hours to fully cure, so I can do that tomorrow. Because also, as you might have guessed, today is Sunday again, which means no power tools because of the noise. This is how the first piece looks like. So it's pretty snug around the edges over here. And then same thing over here, and I left a gap because I think I might add a little bit of insulation. The plan is to put in another piece over here and then a long one all the way there, and of course a small one there as well. Since I took the bulkhead out, I still have those nuts welded to the frame, so I might use them. Since everything else is just glued in, I might use some rivet nuts on here to at least bolt in the front piece of the frame, and because this will all be hidden under a cabinet, I can just screw in through the plywood and that should make a super strong bond. So instead of finishing up the frame and painting it today, we're gonna do that tomorrow, and now we're gonna try out the rivet gun that I actually unboxed in last week's bonus episode if you haven't checked that out. Alright, so before I put the table away, let's open up the rivet nut gun. Now, I just realized something. I can drill the holes today, but I need to put on the metal protection paint, so I'm not gonna use this until tomorrow, but that means about 2 minutes for you, so nothing bad. Alright, let's see. So, I've never used a rivet gun or something like this, but I think it's pretty easy. So these are, I think, M6. They are threaded in the inside, and then I guess you need to get the right insert here, twist them on, and then just pull them in. So yeah, I'm excited to use them. My doubts regarding the floor not being strong enough are kind of disappearing the further I go. I think the Sikaflex is already plenty enough, and then having some spots where I will glue in the plywood, it's gonna be more than enough. Alright, so I'm gonna put everything away, drill the holes for the rivet nuts, put on the protective paint, and glue in the last piece of the wooden framing, and then we'll skip another night and see each other tomorrow morning. Sorry for the bad footage. It started raining and the sun set, so it's super dark. See you tomorrow. Day 3 of the floor build, and finally today we can pick up the sheet of plywood. That was a huge hassle, but first there's some more stuff we gotta do in the cargo bay. I gotta admit, I think I set it up kind of the wrong way because I had to pull so many times, but it worked. Now I'm gonna set up the table saw again, and then we'll get working on the frame for the battery compartment. That wasn't a lot. What kind of espresso is that? Alright, so my mom is giving yoga classes, which means I can't use the table saw anymore for the next hour. So I think we're just gonna pick up the sheet of plywood. And also, if you watched the previous episodes, you know, it was a huge hassle to get a piece of plywood. Now, mysteriously, this lumber yard popped up that's only like 15 minutes away, but the website doesn't rank at all on Google, which means there was kind of no way to find it. But yeah, you can just walk in. They have a huge stockpile and professional grade wood to good prices, and you can shop there as a regular customer and you don't have to have a business. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. We got the wood! That has to be the coolest shop ever. Let me know which of those colors you'd prefer on the build-up. I'm not sure. I might go with a color, or I might just go with the plain finish and put a clear coat on. So yeah, let me know your favorite. Who's that? Sub o'clock? Oh, sub o'clock. We currently are enough people to fit into the little town of Saz Al Magal. Let's see how much we can grow our village until next episode. That's the second piece, and you can really feel the quality difference. Apparently it's a good thing that they didn't have this plywood at the hardware store, because it's not birch all the way through for them. There's like eucalyptus in the middle, and the coating is super thin, and here it's about twice the thickness, and you can actually see it, and it's just super robust. So yeah, that was a worthwhile investment. And actually, I think it came out to be the exact same price as in the hardware store. Time for lunch. Once again, almost 3 hours of lunch break. It was nice, but now I'm super tired. But at least the sky cleared up, and I'm super happy to just soak in a bit more sunshine before fall or winter. Plan for the afternoon is to build the frame, paint it probably once, maybe even twice, but I don't think we'll get to install it today. We'll see. The frame fits. Now before I do the sanding and prep for paint, I want to quickly glue the last piece together. And I should have some fast setting glue. Here it is. Alright. It's already holding up. This has to be the fastest setting glue ever. I bought some good stuff, I guess. Well, it's called Kraft Prots, which I don't know how to translate that. But yeah, look at the logo. You're probably not gonna see it's like a man. Does this. Great. Alright. I gotta charge up my batteries. And the camera ones. See you later. Rate my plate. I've got vanilla ice cream, a croissant, plums, coffee, and grape juice. Yum yum. Alright, lunch is done. Now I gotta drill the holes in the frame for the bolts that go into the river nuts that we attached, and then paint it, prep it, and glue it in. Hopefully today. It's probably gonna be in the dark, but we'll see. Alright, so it's absolutely crazy how strong the frame is, just with this glue thingy. I should have just done that instead of the screws. That was a huge mess, but oh well, you get smarter every day, right? So just as a disclaimer, this doesn't have to be the prettiest painting job. It's just that if I ever spill some water, since there are some exposed edges, it's pretty much to protect them. Plus I have bolts through them, which is kind of a heat bridge or a cold bridge, which means there might be some condensation on there, but it really shouldn't. So that's gonna dry up for an hour, then we do another coat, but in the meantime, it's time to mow the lawn. Alright, done with lawn mowing. By the way, that's one of my life goals, to one day own property, probably like in France or somewhere where it's way cheaper, that is big enough to justify a lawn mowing tractor. Because these push things, yeah, I don't know, not really a fan of it. Alright, let's see what we've got. Probably a couple more minutes of waiting and then I can throw on the second coat of paint. Alright, another update. awesome. It's like apple cider without alcohol, because I'm still working on the table saw. Yeah, so there's absolutely no way I'm gonna get it done today. The paint is not quick drying as it's supposed to be, and it's been 2 hours now and it's still kind of wettish. So yeah, I'd rather just do it right. So there's actually going to be 4 days of building in this episode, which will probably bring it close to an hour in length and takes me 30 hours to edit. I hope you don't mind. If you watched this far, you're already a legend and I really appreciate it. I'm just going to glue in some shorter pieces for the edges of the floor to support them, and in the evening put on a second coat of paint, and then tomorrow morning glue it up, and then we're finally done. Alright, thanks for sticking around. It's next morning and finally time to glue in the frame. But I also think it just started raining, so we better hurry up. That was kind of successful. I didn't manage to fit in quite all the bolts, but I might try again once everything's dried up, but just Sika glue alone holds up anyways. Alright, so once again, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see each other in 2 weeks for episode 8, and my bus. I gotta catch my bus in 5 minutes. See ya!